The human mind is one of the most powerful tools we have. It is the center of our thoughts, emotions, beliefs, and decisions. What happens in our mind shapes our actions and therefore our reality. Many times, without realizing it, we live limited by thoughts that do not reflect the truth of who we are. But when we understand how our mind works, we can redirect it to a path of transformation. Our daily thoughts have the power to uplift or destroy. If we allow fear, doubt, or the past to dominate, we will be trapped in a life that does not reflect our potential. But if we choose to feed our minds with thoughts of faith, truth, and hope, we can begin to see a new reality. It's not about denying what's happening around us, it's about deciding how to face it. The real battle is not outside, but what we think inside. When we renew our minds, we open the door to new possibilities. The challenges remain, but the way we see them is completely changing. Where before we saw a barrier, we now see an opportunity. Where we used to feel fear, we now feel trust. Personal transformation does not begin with changing circumstances, but with changing mentality. Many prisoners of inherited ideas, ancient traumas, or negative words that we accept as truth. But the beautiful thing is that none of this has to define us forever. God has given us the ability to choose which thoughts to feed and which to discard. Renewing the mind is a daily decision, an ongoing commitment to our spiritual and emotional well-being. It is an act of faith, but also of responsibility. This renewal is not an empty positive thought, but a deep alignment with the truth of God. When we understand what He says about us, we begin to see ourselves with new eyes. We are no longer defined by error, but by grace. We no longer live by lack, but by fullness. Our approach changes, and with it our whole environment. The mind can be our greatest enemy or our greatest ally. It depends on what we decide to sow in it. Just as a garden needs care and attention, our thoughts need discipline and truth. Every thought counts, and all mental choices move us closer or further away from our goal. A change of mind changes destiny. This series of reflections is designed to help you discover the transformative power that is already within you. You don't need anything external to get started, just the willingness to look and act on faith. In the following topics, we will explore how to renew our minds and live a life of life. Because yes, it is possible to live without mental limitations and walk in the truth. And before you continue, don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any content from this series. Activate the bell, share this message with someone in need, and accompany us on this journey of mental and spiritual transformation. Let's walk together to a renewed mind and a life of purpose. Limiting beliefs are deep-seated thoughts that tell us what we cannot do, be, or achieve. Many times we are not aware of them because they have been present since childhood or have been shaped by painful experiences. They are like invisible walls that stop our steps and shut out our dreams. We take their voices as absolute truths when in reality they are only distortions. Identifying them is the first step to breaking your chains. These beliefs can arise from words we hear in vulnerable moments. Comments from parents, teachers, or authority figures can leave deep marks. Phrases like "you are not enough" or "this is not for you" are installed silently in the heart. What was once an external opinion becomes an internal conviction. And over time we begin to act as if they were immutable laws. Many times we don't even question these ideas. We simply live under its influence, making small and large decisions from this limited place. For example, we avoid opportunities out of fear of failure or doubt our talents, all because we believe we are unable. But the truth is that these beliefs do not define who you really are. They only reflect moments in the past, not your current worth. God did not create you to live under lies. He designed you with purpose, unique gifts, and the ability to overcome any barrier. Limiting beliefs do not come from him, but from fear, pain, and comparison. Therefore, it is vital to examine what thoughts are leading your life. Are you operating from God's truth or from a broken narrative that you need to heal? The renewing of the mind begins to identify the origin of these thoughts. Ask yourself, where did this idea come from? Who told me I can't? What experience led me to believe this? Putting light on the root, they lose strength. You cannot heal what you do not recognize. But once you see it clearly, you can replace the lie with a powerful truth. And the truth is, you can. You can start over, you can learn, you can grow. You can build a different life. When you believe what God says about you, everything changes. You are no longer acting out of fear, but out of trust. Limiting beliefs lose their power when you confront faith. Every day is an opportunity to declare a new truth about yourself. No matter how long you've lived under a wrong idea, you can start thinking differently today. You are not alone in this process. God walks with you every step of the way, guiding you to a restored identity. A renewed mind begins with a conscious decision to reject the lie and embrace the truth. Remember, what you think, you believe. If you believe in the limit, you will live limited. If you believe in freedom, you will start walking with new steps. Do not settle for living thoughts that do not belong to you. There is a world of possibilities waiting on the other side of your psychic transformation. And it all begins with a mind ready to be renewed by the truth. Negative thoughts are like small drops of poison that over time pollute our entire perception. They occur without warning, many times as automatic responses to difficult or uncertain situations. They make us doubt, fear, and even give up before trying. But most of these thoughts are not absolute truths. They are interpretations, distortions, or poorly processed memories. By allowing these thoughts to rule our minds, we sabotage our own progress. Every time we tell ourselves, "I can't" or "will never make it," we build invisible walls that stop our goal. We think we are realistic when we are actually giving in to fear. The mind, without guidance, tends to self-preservation. But it doesn't have to be that way. The renewal of the mind begins when we decide to question what we think. Not everything that goes through your mind deserves your attention or your consent. You can learn to filter, examine, and confront each thought. Ask yourself, is this true? Does this build me up? Does this come from God? If the answer is no, you don't have to stay. God does not call us to live under mental condemnation. He invites us to have the mind of Christ, a mind focused on the true, the pure, the right, and that which gives hope. We are not designed to live trapped in a defeatist mentality. We have access to thoughts that bring life and purpose. But we must learn to choose them every day. Challenging negative thoughts is not to ignore reality. It is crucial to see it with the eyes of faith. He admits that there are difficulties, but there are also promises. Yes, there is pain, but also health. Yes, there were setbacks, but there is fun in starting again. This type of thought is not born on its own, it is nurtured. It is a daily exercise of faith and focus. Every time you choose to replace a negative thought with God's truth, you take a step toward your freedom. It's not about perfection, it's about intention. Sometimes you will fall into old patterns, but now you will know how to get out. Your mind is yours, and you have authority over what you allow it to inhabit. This is a powerful truth. Sometimes these negative thoughts have been inside you, repeating as a constant echo. But no matter how old or strong they are, they can be defeated. The Word of God is stronger than any destructive thought. Faith is more powerful than fear. And you are more trained than you think to face this battle. Today is a good day to start this change. You don't have to do it alone. God is with you, ready to help you cleanse your mind and renew your heart. Take a negative thought, replace it with the truth of the Word, and repeat it with faith. This is how a new mind is trained. And step by step, you will see how your life begins to reflect this inner change. Faith is more than belief, it is a vital force that moves our mind and heart forward. It is what drives us even when everything around us seems to be against it. While fear paralyzes, faith moves us to action. It allows us to see with hope what has not yet happened. It is the engine that turns thoughts into action and dreams into reality. Having faith does not mean denying problems, but looking at them from a different perspective. It's a choice to trust that God is working even though we don't see immediate results. It's about moving forward when everything screams hold on because we know we're not walking alone. Faith does not need evidence to begin. You just need a heart willing to believe. When we cultivate a mindset of faith, our thoughts align with possibilities, not limitations. We begin to think from what God says, not from what fear calls. Faith restructuring our mind, this teaches us to wait for the best, speak with conviction, and act with confidence. This is not a theory, but a daily practice. Every decision based on faith weakens fear. Every step we believe strengthens our identity. Although there are doubts, even if we don't have the all clear, we can move. Because faith is not the absence of uncertainty, but the certainty that God is ahead. It is trusting the unseen and going hard for what we do not yet see. A mind transformed by faith sees solutions where there were only problems. See doors where I only saw walls. When we truly believe, we stop making excuses and start looking for ways. We stop regretting what is missing and start giving thanks for what is ahead. This is the power of a faith-filled mind. God honors faith. When He sees a heart He believes in, He opens supernatural paths. You don't have to understand everything, you just have to trust. When you set your mind on what is eternal, the temporal ceases to dominate you. Faith brings order to chaos and hope to confusion. It is a mind-changing, life-changing spiritual weapon. A life without faith is a life full of fear, doubt, and instability. But a mind that decides to believe life with firmness, clarity, and purpose. Faith is what keeps you going when resources fail, when doors close, when time runs out. It is what reminds you that you are not alone and God is in control. Faith focuses, activates, and transforms you. Today you can choose to think from faith. You can look at your current situation with a new perspective. Not because everything is resolved, but because you think it can be transformed. Feed your faith with the Word, with prayer, with statements that connect you to the truth. And you will see how little by little the transformation begins from the inside out. Compare is one of the most common traps we face in the mind. Sometimes we do it without realizing it, shifting the approach of our own process to look at the lives of others. We observe his achievements, his times, his blessings. And we begin to feel that we are not enough. But each person has a unique path designed by God. There is no valid comparison when talking about purpose. Comparison steals joy and shuts out gratitude. Instead of giving thanks for what we have, we regret what we believe we lack. We begin to run a race that does not belong to us, trying to achieve foreign goals. This only generates frustration and discouragement. When we look away, we lose our own progress. God did not create you to be a copy of anyone. He has given you talents, times, and processes that are yours alone. What someone else achieves at a given moment does not invalidate what you are building. The success of others is not your failure. Constantly comparing you only feeds insecurities that are not based on God's truth. Many times what we see in others is only the surface. We don't know the price they paid, the struggles they face, or the trials they live in secret. Judging our lives on another person's edited summary is unfair to ourselves. God sees you complete, not for what you achieve, but for who you are in Him. Acceptance of your process is key to progress in peace. You don't have to run to anyone else's beat. Your goal has no competition. Every stage you live has meaning and teaching. Even the wait times are fertile, even if they don't seem like it. Comparison distorts this truth and sows anxiety where there should be trust. When you stop looking from the sidelines, you can really focus on what God is doing in you. You begin to appreciate your gifts, see your advance, and grow with purpose. Instead of asking, "Why do I like them?" you begin to declare, "Thank you for what you do in me." This is a healthy mentality and is strengthened by faith. The comparison may seem innocuous, but it is a silent thief. Peace is accepted, weakens your identity, and makes you doubt your calling. But you can break with her. You can decide each day to focus on your path, with the assurance that God does not make mistakes. You are in the right place, at the right time, under the right plan. Today is a good day to release comparison and embrace authenticity. Celebrate others while honoring your own process. Give thanks for what you already have and trust in what is to come. You don't have to run faster or look like everyone else. You just have to move forward with faithfulness, knowing that God is writing your story perfectly. Words are not mere sounds, they have power. They can build, destroy, inspire, or paralyze. From our childhood, we are shaped by what we hear and repeat. Many of the beliefs that we drag are born of earned words without care. And the most profound thing is that we end up repeating them, believing them to be true. Phrases like "you don't serve," "always fail," or "it's not for you," they can mark a person's identity for years. Even though they were not true, we accept them and make them our own. And what we take in, we reproduce. We begin to tell us hard, to constantly criticize ourselves, to always expect the worst. It pollutes the mind. God calls us to speak life, not destruction. His word is truly full, affirmation, love, and purpose. When we begin to align our words with what He says, our mind begins to heal. We no longer speak of the wound, but of hope. We no longer repeat a curse, but a blessing. What you say about yourself matters. If you converse with judgment every day, you will live in guilt. But if you speak with faith, you will begin to walk with confidence. This is not self, but a spiritual truth. Your words create an atmosphere. And that atmosphere shapes your way of thinking, feeling, and acting. Your language has power. Even the words that we don't say out loud, but that we repeat in our minds, build realities. Therefore, renewing your internal vocabulary is an essential part of change. Start identifying what phrases you keep repeating. Do you speak as God would speak to you? Or are you echoing the past? Replacing words of criticism with words of faith is an intentional act. It takes practice, patience, and discipline. But every time you choose to speak life, you are training your mind to see the good. You sow hope where there was doubt before, and little by little, this is reflected in your behavior and decisions. Your words also affect others. You can sow certainty in an uncertain heart, or you can deepen a wound with a rich phrase. Choosing your words with love is a way of living with a spiritual conscience. God gave us the ability to speak, but also the responsibility to build with what we say. You can start changing your language today. Declare God's truth about you, even if you don't feel it yet. Speak with faith, even if the panorama seems difficult. Mend with love, build with intention, shrink words that heal. Remember what you say, you believe, and what you think transforms your life. The renewal of the mind is not a singular event, but an ongoing process. It is not enough to think well one day and expect eternal results. The mind must be trained daily to remain aligned with truth. Just as we feed the body, we must feed the mind with that which builds. True transformation requires consistency. Every day we are faced with thoughts that try to deviate from the goal. Situations, emotions, and external words try to penetrate our mind. Therefore, we need active, not passive, renewal. It's a daily matter of deciding what you allow yourself to think, what you choose to believe, and what you let in. Live with mental intention. The Word of God is our main tool for this renewal. It is alive, powerful, and able to separate the fake from the real. Read, meditate, and declare the Word, renewing our perspectives. It reminds us of who we are and where we are going. We are anchored in eternal promises in the midst of a changing world. The mind is not renewed by emotion, but by discipline. There will be days when you don't feel motivated, but you still have to choose to think differently. Renewal is resisting the comfort of old thought and embracing the challenge of the new. It requires decision, commitment, and faith. But the fruit is worth all the effort. Constant renewal prepares us to face life with wisdom. It gives us clarity to make decisions, strength to resist pressure, and hope to move forward. The renewed mind is not taken away by the chaos of the environment. He remains firm, bound to truth, focused on what is good, just, and eternal. Many expect to change their lives without changing their way of thinking. But that is impossible. You cannot live a new life with an old mind. Change begins within. Every thought aligned with God's truth is a step toward a life of freedom. And this process is daily, not instantaneous. Persistence is more powerful than intensity. You don't have to do much in one day, but do the right things every day. 5 minutes can really transform your whole day. The mind is strengthened by repetition, by focus, by practice. Renewing it becomes a way of life. Today you can decide to start over. No matter how much you've fallen into old patterns, you can always realign your thoughts again. God does not call you to perfection, but to perseverance. A renewed mind is not a perfect mind, but a surrendered mind. And when you choose to let go of the truth, you begin to walk in freedom. Fear and doubt are silent enemies of personal and spiritual growth. They appear just as we are about to take an important step, whispering reasons not to move forward. They make us think about everything that could go wrong instead of trusting what could go right. But we were not born to live dominated by them. God did not give us a spirit of fear. Overcoming fear isn't about not feeling it, it's about deciding to move forward in spite of it. Courage is not the absence of fear, but acting in the face of uncertainty. Every time you choose to move in faith, you weaken the influence of fear in your life. The first step is always the hardest, but also the most powerful. Dare to give it. Doubt causes us to question our worth, our purpose, and even the presence of God. But faith answers with truth. You are worth it, you can, and God is with you. Replacing doubt with confidence is a daily decision. It's not about feeling absolute security, but about trusting who called you. He doesn't fail. When you feed your mind with faith, fear loses its power. That doesn't mean everything will be easy, but it does mean you'll never be alone. Each step you take with confidence prepares you for the next. And when you look back, you'll see how far you've come, even with fear. It is walking by faith, not by sight. God equips you to fight, not back down. The enemy wants you to believe that you are unable, but God has already said that you are. Overcoming fear is an act of obedience, a sign of trust. And with each victory, your faith grows and your mind is strengthened. Don't let doubt determine your destiny. Remember that even great men and women of faith experienced fear. The important thing is not to be afraid, but not to surrender to it. When you choose to act in the midst of doubt, you are affirming your faith in God, not your emotions. This gives you stability, safety, and control. And that changes everything. Fear holds you back, but faith sets you free. Doubt stops you, but truth pushes you forward. You are not called to live in the shadows. You are called to walk in light. Every day you choose to trust, you renew your mind and break internal chains. It's a battle, yes, but you can win. Today is the day to face it. Identify that fear, pay it off, and sign it to the truth of God. Take a small step if necessary, but give one. Faith doesn't wait for the perfect moment, it creates it. And you, with God, can do more than you imagine. Don't be afraid. Believe it. Keep going. Now that you've traveled each of these principles, you know a powerful truth change doesn't start outside, it starts inside your mind. What you think, what you choose to feed day after day has the power to transform your reality. God has already given you the tools. You just have to step. Don't let old mental patterns continue to rule your present. You have the ability to break with yourself, to silence comparison, to challenge fear, to live in faith. It won't be easy every day, but it will be possible if you stay consistent. Every renewed thought is a seed of freedom. Your mind can be a battlefield or a fertile ground for dreams that God has been planting in you. To you, renewal is not instant, but it is unstoppable when it becomes a habit. God does not seek perfection, He seeks disposition. He has already given you the truth. You just have to believe it and live it. Don't go alone. Find support, spread the word, strengthen your faith. Fill yourself with content that you build to remember who you are and where you're going. And when the old thought tries to come back, you will know what to do. Replace it with a new one, born of truth and full of hope. It's not about being positive, it's about being anchored in truth. And the truth is that you were created with purpose, with power, with value. You were not born to live limited but free. You are not born to fear, but to thrive. The battle is mental, but the victory is spiritual. Every step counts. Every thought you choose to align with God's truth brings you closer to your destiny. Don't look back. The best is ahead, and you are prepared for it. God is not done with you. The transformation is just beginning. If this message speaks to your heart, don't leave without subscribing to the channel. Activate the bell, comment what influenced you the most, and share with someone who needs to renew your mind. Together, let's move on. Your transformation begins now.